Hi, my name is Rachel. Welcome to my channel, Learning with the Boys. I have 4 boys ages 9 to 19, and today I want to talk to you about how to homeschool high school. Like I said, I have 4 boys. My oldest is 19. He is actually finishing up with his associates this spring in welding, and then I have a 12th grader who is mostly doing dual credits this senior year, and I have a 9th grader and getting started in that adventure, and I have a 4th grader. So I have some experience, but everybody's experience will be different, and I hope you try to remember that, because I know with high school it's really just learning where your child is, what his or her expectations are. You may have some that want to go to college. And that is how I planned for my oldest. I really thought he may even go into some type of engineering, so I really pushed him academically in different areas, and that was fine. I can't say I pushed him. I mean, he did fine. My second one, I knew probably if he did go to school might not be right away, and he is undecisive about that, or he might do like a trades. So now my third one coming along, I know he wants to go to college, so our plan is pretty specific, and but I will share all that with you. I want to say the first thing that I feel like is pretty important is to know what your state laws are, and I know that's probably mentioned by a lot of people who talk about how to homeschool high school, but it is very important. You want to make sure that you don't run into any bumps on the way, because you don't want your kid to have to repeat something or be a senior and have to take some class that is irrelevant to what they even care about. So it's pretty important that you know what your state requirements are. We are a member of HSLDA, which is Homeschool Legal Defense Association, and we've been members with them for years, and I've called maybe a few times, and I know it's expensive, but especially nowadays, I just feel like having them as my support if needed, that they will be there, and I truly believe that they would. So they do a lot that a lot of people don't know about that help homeschoolers. So just supporting them in that would be helpful. But you could call and talk to someone specific from your state. You could even look up things on their website that possibly from your state, and just get an idea of what requirements are going to look like. And I'm talking about, how many years of English, how many years of math and biology. Now, each state is different. My state requires that we are under an umbrella. And there are several umbrellas just in my county. So, and each one is different, and you just have to abide by whatever they require. And they usually are very similar. Now, you might have some umbrellas that are part of a Christian school, or some umbrellas that are just homeschoolers, or part of an association. So they're going to be a little bit different, and what the requirements are. So that is how it is for our state. But I know some states don't really require anything. Some states require you to actually show the work. Now, our umbrella also does the transcript, which is a huge blessing, because I know a lot of states that don't require you to turn in anything will require you to provide your own transcript and your diploma and all that. So, but that is my first, feel like, very important thing to do, is to make sure you know what your state is required. Okay, second, and I feel like this is pretty important too, but it's to plan ahead. Now, when I mean plan ahead, I mean at least 7th, definitely 8th grade. You want to be thinking about those requirements, and I will give you a couple reasons why. First, this is why probably even before 8th. They might come into 8th and be ready for a high school credit. My oldest took Algebra 1 and science that qualified for high school credit in 8th grade. So that was helpful. So you just want to be a little bit prepared for that, or they might not, and that is absolutely fine. My other boys, they just did the regular requirements in 9th, and 10th, 11th, and 12th is probably how they will fall. So But if you have a child that seems a little bit ahead in some areas, that would be helpful because you don't want to miss those. And I know for us in our state, if we don't mark it in 8th grade, it will not get on the transcript. So we can't go back and change things. Now, some states are more flexible. That's why I'm like, it's important that you know your state laws. So plan ahead. Know what your state laws are and think, what are my kids taking? What math will they be in by the time they're in 8th? Are they ready for this science? I mean, they might be able to take a high school science in 8th grade like at a co-op. It might be something that they do at home. It doesn't matter. It's just you want to make sure that you get it marked that year that they take it. Another reason to plan ahead is maybe your child is struggling in an area or two, and you're thinking they're getting 7th, 8th, they're going to be in high school in 9th. I don't want them to be struggling then. For example, my 9th grader now, last year when he was 8th grade, I was a little concerned about his English grammar. He's very smart, but I just didn't know where he was with it. And we ended up, which I have never used Abeka videos, but for a peace of mind from this mom, I thought, well, if he makes it through that, he's probably fine. And he did fine. Now, I will admit, we did not do the writing. We ended up back to IEW because that is what we know and we used. But for the grammar, he did great. He is doing well this year. Just what he grasps for me compared to my other two is pretty amazing at this age. So, but I did it as a precautionary. That was the area I'm concerned. And maybe your child does testing. That is not required under every umbrella in our state either. So he has not tested. But that's the great thing about homeschooling is you can individualize their curriculum. You know what they need and where you can help them and push them if that's where they need a little push to make sure that they're ready for high school. It could be math. Now I had my second one ended up, and this was what was allowed at our umbrella, is he ended up doing pre-algebra in 9th grade and then algebra and geometry. So that was helpful. And if you can also keep in mind that every child will be different. I look at how each one was so different so far. And so just keep that in mind. You might be only homeschooling one and trying to get them through high school, or you might have your first one coming through and you're like, how am I going to do all these? So each child is different. And just keep that in mind as you're thinking about the requirements, you're thinking of where they are at and what they need in an area maybe they're struggling with. Those are a couple of reasons why I feel like it's very important to plan ahead. The next thing would be to plan the course descriptions. Now, I have just a sample here, and I think I'm going to turn the camera around and show you a little bit more detail of what I mean, but it's just like what they'll be doing in 9th, and then I have a sheet for 10th, 11th, and 12th. Now, I will tell you that some of the people that I have seen or watched suggest that you go backwards, and that is fine. But for my mind, it just didn't work that way. And I'm going to turn the camera around and sort of explain to you why. Okay, here is what my umbrella requires. And they have a college prep path and a general study path. My oldest and my third child, oldest took the college path, and that's what my 9th grader is doing now. My second one just did the general study path. But remember, they can still do college. I mean, they might have to take a class or two, but for him, this is what worked now. And because of this, he only had to take one. I mean, the main difference was maybe math and just 1 year of language instead of 2. So that was the main difference there. So what I would do is I would look at this, and then I have these. This is what I've done for my 9th grader this year, these print-offs, and I'm going to be honest with you. Unless I can find these, I don't know where I printed them all at. I have a feeling it was a free printable, though, because that's usually what I do, is the free printables. But I started in 9th grade, and I guess because I sort of know what is needed. I mean, they're going to have a history. They're going to have a language arts. They're going to have a math and a science every year. So, I mean, that's going to be basic. The curriculum we use actually has world religion. He is wanting to take a Bible credit every year. Our curriculum we use does a logic, PE, and then fine arts. He plays the piano. So, and really that could probably be a credit. But that's where we're going to do that now. So I would have filled this out first. I mean, filling this out for my 9th grader, and then I would be just checking it off here. Okay, what else do I need? It's going to be pretty basic again. We need to get a history, a science, an English, a math. He wants to do Bible. This is requirement course. Speech is not, and I'm not even guaranteed that's what I'm going to do. It's just, I wrote my thoughts there, and he needs to start a foreign language. So, and health. I have not written in health, and I really would like to do that, and I know that in my mind. And that is a requirement course. Yes, health up here. So, and that is one I do need to write down. I think everything else, especially requirements, I have written down. So then 11th grade would be, again, history, which for him, I mean, he could do U.S. history. There's some curriculums that do geography, world history, U.S. history 1, U.S. history 2. But that's really not all required. I am just trying to get in the requirements right now. So, government and economics, they're each a half a credit. So, usually we do one semester and then the other the next. Chemistry, English 3, another math, a Bible, another year of foreign language, and then there might be a couple, let's see, I think that's it. That's required. So, and I'll do fine arts every year, half a credit, as long as he's still playing the piano, which I think he plans on keeping. So, really, he's done with everything except he's got to have a 4-year of English, and then he would need 1 more year of math. I'm not sure what we'll do there yet. He's done 3 sciences, American history. He's doing world geography. He'll do government economics. So everything is filled in except for his electives. And some of those are over here too. Like, we'll add those in as we decide a little bit more in his interest. So I have dual credit written at the top of this paper because English 4, I think he'll be doing that as a dual credit. Possibly the math. He'll do a Bible class and a computer, and those will all, I mean, that's just an idea of what we would like to do, dual credit. And remember, this would be first and second semester. So he would actually take English 1 and then English 2 his senior year. Just to give you an idea. So that is sort of why I like to start in 9th grade, because I want to get in all the requirements. So by the time they're in 12th and possibly even 11th, like he could take some type of elective class as a dual credit. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now our umbrella says, where did I see it at? Students can earn a maximum of 7 credits, but I have talked to them before, and I think if it goes over half or if it goes into 8, I think you just have to talk to them ahead of time. So, but I wanted to share that with you, those 2 things. That's just sort of our planning. And it can change. I did it in pencil. So, and let me see. This was probably from my oldest son, and I have that written all over and scribbled and ideas on the back. And he probably didn't even do towards the end of the year. Towards the end of his 12th grade year, he didn't even do all that. So, but, okay, so that was course descriptions. Okay, the fourth thing is to keep good records. And I can't stress that enough. I know sometimes things can get really busy, and I'm not perfect at it, don't get me wrong. But I did do a video on high school record keeping. It's very basic, but it's mainly if you can just get things written down and just start making sure that you have a folder for everything, and just keeping record of, even when my boys might do something outside of school that might be, volunteer work or something for church, like even just singing in the choir, or maybe my oldest son does some of the videography. So I try to keep record of that, which it could be used, or maybe it could just be used as volunteer work later. So just keep all little details written down. Maybe you have a calendar, and really it would be helpful if they had a planner and a calendar, and just help them, teach them to write those things down. What did I do this week? Where did I serve this week? What extracurricular activities, whether it be sports or whether it be maybe you're with 4-H. There are so many different things that they could be involved with. Now, I will tell you, in the beginning, I learned a lot of this from Lee over at Homescholar, and I will do my best to link her below. She had a lot of free webinars, which I listened to everything I could and took notes. And then also she has a lot of free printables on the site, which I did. I printed a lot of free printables. She has printables for 9th grade of what you should be doing before you enter 9th grade, as you're leaving 9th grade for 10th, 11th, and 12th. I did purchase this book, Setting the Record Straight, How to Craft Homeschool Transcripts and Course Descriptions. Now, like I said, I don't need to do transcripts and course descriptions, but it gives you a lot of other ideas in here. Well, I do keep course descriptions. I keep a folder for every class, 9th through 12th grade, or if they started earlier in 8th. Anything that would be high school credit. This was really good. Now, a lot of her stuff you can get off Amazon. You could probably even get it on, like, the Kindle version, I guess. So, I really suggest, she's put a lot of her life into this. She's graduated 2 of her boys, and she's done a lot of research. She deals with other colleges. She's very informative and could answer a lot of questions. And another thing I did was I also made like a high school notebook, just like a 3-ring binder. Anything I printed off would go in there. I have my stuff from my umbrella, my requirements, even from the Homeschooler. She had a college-bound reading list of books, and from American literature, world literature, British literature, and then she also has a section, has been helpful to me, which was reluctant readers. Not all my boys are that way, but so I printed that off of her site, and just some other things that are very helpful. And I try to keep it all in one notebook, so when I'm thinking, where is that, I would at least think, okay, I would have stored it in my high school notebook. Maybe at some point you would have more of a specific place to put that particular item that you printed off. I don't know. But that is what has worked for me, just to make sure that you are keeping the records. So those are my 4 main points. Those 4 points were: check your state requirements, make sure you plan ahead, plan a course description, and keep good records. Now, I do want to encourage you, maybe you're starting homeschooling in 10th, 11th, or even 12th grade. I would follow a very similar plan. You definitely want to know what your state laws are, but get a transcript from the school. Even if you have to pay for it, figure out how you can get a transcript from the school of what they've already done. Make sure it's legal and from the school and all that. So you can look at your state requirements for a homeschooler and decide where they're at. Maybe they're further along than you thought, and they only have such and such credits left, and you could definitely fit in some electives, or they could work, or whatever reason you may have decided to start homeschooling them. Maybe they need a certain subject they need to work on and they're pretty far advanced in the other subjects. So make sure you get the transcript. Go ahead and still follow those plans. Make sure you know what your requirements are for your state. And especially if you need to be under an umbrella, or if you're going to have to show your work, you want to keep some type of folder file system for that. And you can get your child, your high schooler, to help you. Give them the system and make sure that they're putting things in the file folder. However that works best for you. And a lot of people keep records on the computer. I should probably learn how to do that. But I haven't. So maybe you're techie and that's what you want to do. If you are pulling somebody out, going to start homeschooling, that would be my suggestions right there, is just see where they're at and what your requirements are and make a plan for the rest of the school year. Also, when I do homeschool my boys, and I think I mentioned this in the requirement part, is that I try to get in the actual requirements so they can be a little bit more free with their electives, and because each of my boys have had totally different interests, and that's usually where their electives fall, is what they're interested in. And that's what they pursue, and that has been helpful with them, especially with my oldest. Appreciate you watching this video on how to homeschool high school. And if you have any questions, please post below and I will do my best to answer or find the answer for you. I really hope this video was helpful to somebody. If you like this type of content, which I do hope to do some more high school videos, please subscribe and hit that like button and share with your friends. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you so much.